Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Patching Party. Wow, do we have the family of champions here today? We have Pittsburgh Steelers, John and Craig. John, a four-time Super Bowl champion and a veteran for 13 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We also have Craig, who is a 12-year veteran of the Pittsburgh Steelers and also 2 years with the Minnesota Vikings. And I would say both of them are seriously competitors. Why do I say that? Well, look at them today. As they retired, they are in such great shape, it puts me to shame. Also, I have to say, Craig is now an announcer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and his brother, are you ready for this, Arizona fans? An announcer for the Arizona Cardinals. In addition, they are married to amazing women. I gotta have Faith come and do a wave because you know what she is? She's a champion MMA fighter. Hello, there she is, a champion, and now she's a coach. And Deborah works with John in a nonprofit to help with bones, joints, muscles, and nerves for repairing and recovering veterans and first responders. So I want to just say thank you for coming and being with us today. This is so special that I'm going to talk to them first, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the technology. Of course, we're talking about X39, our stem cell activation patch, and we're going to talk a little bit right now to both of these guys. John, let's start with you. How did you learn about X39 and from who? And, what was life like before? And why did you actually start deciding to try it? And what's been happening to you now and maybe even to some of your patients?
Well, I was a lot like your guest a few days ago that I watched, Dr. Don, and my wife was involved in this. And I really enjoyed watching him because what he was talking about really paralleled my experience. When I was going to grad school and I had to do a thesis, and you couldn't just make a statement. It had to be peer reviewed, double blind, placebo studies, and so I kind of got rare. I mean, I kind of like bought into that, and there is a lot of uh, there are, I guess I should say, a lot of things that we can try, and so many of them are how do you know this is even worth trying? And so you hear some buzzwords while like this is a clinical study, and then they stop. Well, what's that tell you? They did it in a clinic doesn't mean that they had any kind of peer-reviewed, double-blind. They can negotiate the outcomes that they want to get. So as I was listening to Dr. Don, I guess it was a week ago, I paralleled a lot like from him because my wife started watching this and was telling me about it, and I'm going, I don't know. I want to know. I want to know how it works. I want to know. I want to know the ifs and the then. If this is so, then what's the outcome, and the how and the why. And so I started investigating it, just like he was talking about the other day.
And so what did you find out when you investigated it? What made you decide you wanted to put it on your body, John?
Well, Craig can tell you. You talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you want to stay very long, you have to become a collision expert. And so, after so I tell people typically, Pittsburgh Steelers, we had 3 games a week and 1 practice. We had a game on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday against Ernie Holmes, Joe Green, Dwight White, L.C. Greenwood. And then I would have a practice on Sunday, maybe against the New York Jets or the Cleveland Browns. But it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those games were because Chuck Noll, our coach, he wasn't let's put some shorts and shoulder pads out and go out and practice. I mean, they were, as Craig can tell you, they were physical practices. So the result of that, of doing that year after year, takes its toll, and so movement into your later years, and movement is the key of life. One of the things, again, I appreciated the other night about what Dr. Don was talking about. He kept several times talking about one of my favorite verses, "We are fearfully and wonderfully made." And there's another one, and there's another doctor his name was Luke, and he wrote a book called Acts, and he says in him we live, we move, and we exist. So what happens when we take movement out of life? When we take movement out of life, we stop living and we stop existing. And so many people that's where they're at in life. And so when you have something like the patches and for example, the X39, and he did a great job of talking about that, gives people the opportunity. I call it the window to move. So as you're starting to feel better, then you need to take that window and move, because then some other things can happen as a result of that.
I love that. So when you were with the Pittsburgh Steelers, what position did you play again, John?
I played next to Craig. Because when we started out, he didn't know the plays and I had to tell him. But then after 13 years, I'd been there so long, I couldn't remember him and he had to tell me. So we worked it out pretty well. I played left tackle and he played left guard. So that's what's good. We're on the wrong side right now. We public commercial and we'll switch. So
I love that. So you helped each other,
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing. And you said that you just were, what did you say? One collision after another. You had to learn how to hit and take hits, and that's football. And you did that for 12, 13 years. So that must have done some damage to the movement you're talking about. So for yourself, when you put the patch on, I'm not sure even how long you've been on the patch, but what did you see from the damage that maybe happened all those years in football and where you are today, and kind of what the patches has done to get you moving again?
So one of the things that, again, I really appreciated from watching your programs in the past is that some of the patches I think are designed to help with inflammation. Others are designed to help with the pain. So if you have years of collisions and your cervical spine particularly takes a big hit, and the discs that separate, you've got the vertebrae, and then in between that you have little, and they start out, they're kind of like potatoes that are sliced, but by the time you finished up, they're more like potato chips. They're thin and they're more fragile.
Yeah.
And so, and I also think of it kind of as a pirate ship. I used to like to watch pirate movies, and you've got the big mast and the ropes that hold it together. And the pirates would shoot the cannons and they'd knock the mast down. Okay, but if you got some ropes to hold it up, then you can still keep the boat floating. And so you've got the spinal cord, but you've got to keep the muscles and the tendons and ligaments strong to help hold things up. But again, to me, it comes down to the basic of you got to move. But if it hurts to move, now we're in a problem. I can't move because it hurts to move, so I don't move, and then it hurts more. And so how do I get out of the cycle? So I would say to your listeners that, and I call it, when I think of the patches, I call it, to me, I call it a window of freedom.
Oh.
Okay, because it hurts to move, so I don't move. But when I start the patch process, then as it starts to work, then you're going to feel better. This is, to me, is very critical. So take advantage of that window of freedom to start moving and start getting the pirate muscle, the boat, the ropes and stuff. So getting them healthy again.
I love that. I get that. So the X39, because of the way that when you elevate GHK copper peptide, you activate those stem cells to work with those little baby stem cells to work like they did when we were young, like when you were getting hit, John.
Yeah.
So now you put that stem cell patch on, and all of a sudden, those little baby stem cells are working again, repairing that spine, putting that sail back together. I think that the structure back together. And then I love this. Now I have my window of freedom. Now I don't hurt, so I move. And so I move more. And what did you say? Movement is life, and life allows you to exist. And so X39, this is the first time I've ever heard this before. X39 takes pain away so we move again, so we don't sit in pain. My mother has a bad hip, and she has many symptoms of many strokes. And so I'm patching her because she can't get a hip replacement. And I'm trying to get her out of the chair, to be honest with you, John, because my mom can't move. She can only sit because she hurts. I mean, that is such a truth right here. Wow.
Right. And we have built into us, we have things called neurotransmitters, which are they carry out the signaling. And then we have things called neurotropins that are essentially the, I would say, the infrastructure of your spine. And so when that sits, you develop potholes, that whole region, and those potholes are called ruptured discs, and so we if when we move, we begin to heal that process.
I love that. I love the X39 is getting ready for this, getting rid of the potholes
Right.
in your back, in your spine. I can actually see it all coming together, you know?
Well, we're linemen, so you can't get too complicated. So we kind of take the potholes and
I love that.
stuff like that.
The discs in between the spine are the potholes, and we're just fixing all the potholes. So I have a question, speaking of your clinic, because I know you and your wife are a nonprofit, and what you do is you help in the area of helping people get rid of the potholes, bones, joints, muscles, nerves. In addition, you do this for veterans and for first responders. So in clinic, I know this is a big word. He's also a master's in kinesiology. I think I said that right. And so big word is he does all of this bones, joint, muscle, and nerves to help people. And so do you have any examples of maybe one or two patients that you've helped using the patches and what's happened with them?
I really do appreciate that question. So I'll try to. So many of our veterans today, we can think of their physical problems, but there's a word, and I don't like the word. It's called PTS, post-traumatic stress, and then we put a D on it. So we say post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, if you have I have veterans with bullet holes in their head, they don't say he's got a disorder. But I have another veteran, he was blown up in Beirut, Lebanon, and his friends were killed there. 423 Marines were killed, and he has PTSD disorder, suggesting that anybody else, he should be fine because there's no scars. And so how do soldiers recover from that? Guess what? Movement. You got an option. You could take drugs, but there's another option. And if you, I don't know how much time you got, because I can go into that, but your body produces, there's a lot of biomarkers, and they have funny names, brain-derived neurotropic factor. I can't work a cell phone, but I can name you all this stuff. Body produces when you move. But now what if it hurts to move? Then you don't move. And so the thing I'm thankful for the opportunity to talk with you tonight, is because it's not just about physical pain. It's movement creates the life in the brain again, because it produces these biomarkers that people that are dealing with PTSD, depression, anxiety are suffering with, that have come back from the combat area. And so it's a lot broader then maybe we look at it from the first.
This is beautiful to me. I have learned something today, John, because I have never really put that together, that movement helps you mentally and physically, and not just little mental and physical, but for PTS, post-traumatic stress, maybe skip the D because it's just PTS. I get that. And that really movement helps with mental and physical. But when you hurt to move, then both physical and mental go down. And I get that the movement does all the chemicals to help. And I also understand that X39, because it activates those little baby stem cells, are going to repair the body so it doesn't hurt to move. So we move it. Wow.
So you take a downward cycle, a downward spinning cycle, and not only stop it, but you're able to get the thing cycling back up.
John, thank you for that. And I've learned so much today. I'm going to move to Craig now, but I think we all got this. That X39 takes the pain away from movement, and movement is where it's at to live, to exist, for mental stability and physical stability. And John, I've never really looked at it quite that way. So I think people are loving this. They're like, oh my gosh, it's movement. It's movement. No pain. We move. So thank you. So, oh, and everybody wants to know the name of your nonprofit.
Thank you. Ventures in Training with a Purpose. Venture means I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm training to go have a purpose in life, not sit, but have a purpose. So once a month, my son works with us, and he takes people and they may climb Mount Kilimanjaro, they may do the Grand Canyon, or we may just take a rock climbing trip or a kayaking trip in Western Pennsylvania or West Virginia.
That's a wonderful. And if you could say that one more time, and Linda, if I could have you put that in chat. I know people, oh, looks like we got it. Venture in Training Purpose or with Purpose?
With a purpose.
Venture in Training with a Purpose. Did I get that right? Could somebody put that in correctly? Venture in Training with a Purpose. Heidi, Robin, or Linda. Thank you. In case people want to check that out. Craig, now, obviously you guys are really good friends, and you were buddies on the field, and you've been with the NFL for 12 years, Pittsburgh, and then 2 years with the Vikings. And then in addition, you are an announcer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you're right in the game still. And then of course, your brother announcing with the Arizona Cardinals, and your wife, a champion MMA fighter. I mean, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit about your story, Craig, and what's happened in your life and why. I'm not even sure if John shared it with you or you shared it with John. Why are you having the patch on your body, and what's been happening to you? Yes.
It started. Let me just say this. He's living proof of what he's talking about, movement. In his 70s, he's hiked to Kilimanjaro. You've been there a couple of times, have you not? He's hiked all the way up there. He's also hiked from top to bottom the Grand Canyon. People in their 70s don't normally do that. But when you have movement, this is what happens. And now he's kind of psycho because he's got me going on the Grand Canyon trip and everything. But I refuse to go up Kilimanjaro. There's no donut shops at the top.
Oh, so, you're funny.
I would say I first heard about the patches from John and Deborah. And my wife started to talk to me about it, so I started to read about it. And I started in October of 23, and I spent a lot of time reading about it. After I read about it, I believed the science, and I started using the patches. And I believe the science, and I use the patches because the dadgum things work. They just flat out work. And for guys like John and I, this is important because, again, we came from the medieval era of the NFL. When John talks about 3 padded practices a week, he's not kidding. We've played games that were easier than the practices. So the point being is our body takes a lot of damage. There's a lot of damage points that are rolled up between John's 14 years and 13 years and my 12 years. So we've got a quarter century between us and NFL years. And like, as the saying goes, NFL years are kind of like dog years. I mean, they extract a lot out of the body,
That's
so
funny. 1 for 7.
to bring back some of that lost vitality you want. And so where it started for me was about a couple months after I started using the patches. I had a knee replacement 5 years ago. And I just happened to notice that scar that it was always there on my knee, which I was always a little bit sensitive about. So I would rarely wear shorts. It started to fade, and it started to fade more and more. Well, if the scar is fading after it's fully healed and it's healing from the inside out, what else is going on? Well, you also think to the time period that we played, you get on anti-inflammatories when you go to training camp, you're on it for the whole season long. There's internal damage that you do to yourself. And so I believe in my mind that, those stem cells are going where God puts them. And wherever there's damage points in the body, that's where they go. And I truly believe that that's what John and I have been able to enjoy, is a little resurgence of that vitality that was lost through many years of hard-hitting football, and so that's why I use them, because I see the results.
This is a crazy question, but what years were you guys playing? Were you guys in the 70s? Is that when you were playing, or the 80s?
He was in the 70s. Like I said, he was a 4-time Super Bowl champion. I'm Zippo. I led the Steelers into the decade of decline when I came in 1980.
You're funny. I mean, that is so true, though, that that what?
But I led the Steelers into a decade of decline. Yeah, you're right.
No, that wasn't funny. I was going back to the dog years. Not that you led it into decline. You are funny. But I that really, like, the hitting, when you said practice was harder than the games, and forgive me, but you said 3 padded practice. What's that mean? Like, you only can wear 1 pad on your body, or what?
3 fully Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're in full pads.
Full
pad.
In
today's NFL, you can only be in full pads 13 times. We did that in the first month of the season.
Oh, stop it. I didn't know the rules from.
So they're not able to put pads on all the time. They can only have a maximum of 13 padded practices throughout the course of the season. And as I said, we did that in less than a month.
Is that because, and forgive me for not being as educated as I should be, but is that because full pads is so heavy and it's so much wear and tear on the body?
It's the ballistic impact that occurs when you got full-grown men, 300 pounds, smashing into each other time and time again. It's kind of like running into parked cars.
So they don't wear the pads so they don't hit each other so hard during practice. Is that right? Did I just get that?
Yeah, that's it. So they don't get hit. So it's a different NFL now. They're trying to make it more more favorable to good health. All right. We come from an era that they weren't so worried about the health thing.
So what's the difference for you guys later in life now because of that? Do you think you have a lot more problems than like the guys that are coming out now? Like what's really happened to? I guess you were telling me, John, about the spine and about the knee replacement. I mean, I know my friend Ivory Sully, he has problems with concussions or the brain kind of wobbly stuff because he got hit so much. Like, what's really happening because of that for the guys in your generation?
Well, first off, I can't give directions because my fingers don't. My fingers,
they're mangled.
Just starting with your fingers. I can't smell anymore because your nose gets
broken a
little bit. And I am, but the great thing about it for me, I'm very, very thankful. From my waist down, I'm in good shape.
Yes.
My knees are I have no knee pain, which is very unusual for as long as I got to play. Now I make up for it because, and this is one of the things I'll share with you about the patches. I was really concerned driving because if I pull out prior to the patches, if I pull out on an interstate, I've either got to get my mirror set so I can see oncoming traffic. So can I get in this lane because I can't turn my head? And so now, if you're driving a truck, you got a big mirror, but my little pickup doesn't have a big mirror. So sometimes I would pull over if I'm by myself, and I'd have to ask my wife. That is my best improvement, is to be able to now turn my neck to see, to get into traffic. That's the thing I'm really thankful for, is that, again, because I said on the outside, said, and we are, that if you're going to play very long in the NFL, you got to become a collision expert. You're looking for collisions. Our running back, Franco, he's trying to avoid collisions. We're trying to look for collisions.
We're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Wow, you're looking for collisions.
Well,
So-
here's the point. The point is he's got greater range of motion. And that's, again,
yeah.
life in and of itself. And
Well, you know,
with that, he's able to keep functioning at a very high level, where a lot of times guys our age that have had as many years in the NFL, they're starting to suffer from all the maladies that accompany that amount of time in the NFL.
well, and I'll tell you, Craig, the other reason that he's doing so well is because of his movement philosophy. So
Oh,
even after the NFL, he walks, he moves. He's probably just relubricated those knees over and over again because of his movement philosophy. So then you add X39 onto it. I mean, what's the highest mountain in the world? That's what you're going to be climbing pretty soon, aren't you, John?
I think that, again, I'm off the topic, but I think that's what we have to have the mindset, is that you continue to move, you continue to find a new adventure, you continue to, once you stop doing that, without a vision, the people perish. So if we're not looking for what's the next adventure, we're going down.
I love your philosophy, and I know we have to get moving for a moment, but do we want to have each of your wives say one thing they like about the patches? I believe it was your wife that brought it to you, right, John? Who's the beginning of this? Was it Deborah or was it Faith? Who was the first one?
I think it was Deborah, and
She's still here. Deborah, where are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I just wanted to know, you're the one that found it. So you're that, tell me why did you bring the patches to John, and what made you like them?
I found Robin and I heard her story. So, and mine was a lot with pride, because I love how the stem cells rejuvenate. And I'm 71 and I need all the help I can get. And I shared it with Faith and she got excited. So we just started to roll with it.
Well, I have to say your skin looks great.
Oh, yes.
Are you talking
I want
about John?
Anita.
No, I was talking about Deborah. Now it's
I've talked too much, but I got to tell you, Faith comes in and she teaches boxing combinations with a lot of our veterans, and we have a program with Light of Life Mission. And sometimes you don't want to do this, but sometimes I end up having to hold the punching bag for Faith, and she hurts my shoulders, and she hits that thing. I mean, she knocks the stuffing out of it. So when I see Faith come in the mornings and she's going to teach, that's when I go, well, I got to go to the bathroom. And so somebody else ends up holding the bag.
Let
I
me
have to know.
let me just say this. Whenever I tell the kids, I go, if mom gives you the side eye, put your hands up, cover up.
Deborah, well, it's Faith there, Faith. I have to ask you a question now. We all got to see you again. We got to see this woman, don't we?
Oh, please.
Here she comes. There she is. So we have a question. Why did you decide to start wearing the patches? And it sounds like you are very tough. And like, did you find that the patches helped you recover faster, helped you hit harder? I mean, helped you, like, why the patches for you?
I love the patches from the beginning, just reading about it. And like Craig said, the first thing I was attracted to was understanding the science behind it. And I dug in, I read the studies and I read patents and I read different things to learn about it. And we just, within the month, we knew things were working. I had some issues with plantar fasciitis, and it had been going on chronically for a couple of years. And within a month and a half, 2 months, it was gone and it hasn't returned. And I had issues with some arthritis developing in my hands. And like you said, holding pads and punching, that really kind of takes a toll, and that is gone. I have had nothing for the last 5 months of that. So I saw immediate results in me. We used them with some of our older children, had a young son who's 21 that was losing his hair prematurely, and it is growing back. And so we just saw so many results in our family. It's just, we can't help but tell people about it.
So are you telling me you're punching like a 20-year-old again?
maybe not 20, but if I get close to 30, I'm doing good.
And everybody loves your stories.
Oh, it's awesome. Thank you,
Isn't it
Marcy.
fun? So everybody has another question for all of you. They all want to know, what patches are you wearing?
Oh, what patches am I wearing? Well,
And they could be different. Which ones are, let's just go down the line. Craig, what are you wearing?
oh, I got the X39, the 49. I alternate with carnosine and glutathione. I also like the Eon patch. Well, I've had energy patches, which, matter of fact, I had a speaking engagement just 2 weeks ago. Put those things on. I spoke for an hour and a half. It was so beneficial to be able to do that. You know what I mean? So the point being is there's a lot there and my favorite patch is always the next patch.
I love that. The favorite patch is always the next patch. And I don't know if Linda, if you could put this in, but Craig, if I got this right, he likes X39, X49, Eon, carnosine, energy, and you said one other, glutathione
Glutathione, and I will also say the silent nights are terrific.
for sleeping.
Prior to that, I was sleeping I would say out of each night at 5.5, 6.5 hours. Now it's more like 7.5 to 8. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. Thank you. John, which ones are you wearing?
So the main ones for me are the glutathione and the carnosine, and Deborah, and the X39.
X39, glutathione, and carnosine. Yep.
I'm stumbling around here.
No, you're
Is
great.
because in the mornings, she'll go 12 hours on and 12 hours out, and my wife will not let me out of the house until she patches me up.
I love that. I
and
love your wives. They need to do a show with me all by themselves, you guys. I'm just saying, it has to be a woman show next time. I'm just kidding. Okay, and John, what's Deborah wearing? What are her favorite patches? Do you want to tell us? You got to come back in for a minute, Deborah.
Okay.
What are your favorite patches?
I use them all except Silent Night.
Oh,
Wow, she uses them all.
I have so much energy. I love the energy.
You love the energy. What are your 3 favorites?
I have to say X39. And when I found out X49, it was for the bones, for the
Yes.
osteoporosis,
Yes.
I started taking that.
Yeah. So
and it's on for the inflammation.
So you like your favorite, you wear them all. Deborah wears them all, guys, but her favorites are X39, X49.
And Eon.
And Eon. Oh, those are good patches. What about Faith? Faith, you're our last one. Then we have to move on. Where are you? Where's my MMA champion? Here she comes.
Behind you, John. I'd have to say the same as Deborah and John and Craig. I mean, the X39 and X49 are our go-tos.
Yep.
When we had a lot of the results in the very beginning, say 3 months, we were really just using the 39 and 49. We started incorporating a lot of the other patches in with Eon. And I don't usually wear the carnosine as much, but I definitely go to the Alavita and the Eon, X39 and X49.
So Faith added Alavita. You know, Alavita is for the skin. Deborah, you better start wearing Alavita between your eyebrows because you want your skin.
She forgot to tell you that one, but she wears it too.
She wears that one too. Good. Just check. Okay.
Now,
Now, I have to say, you guys for being in your 70s look like you're in your 40s or whatever. I mean, this is insane. So I just want to thank all of you, John, Craig, Deborah, Faith, for coming on and sharing your stories. We're going to now go and we're going to talk a little bit about the X39 and what's in this product. Why do the Pittsburgh Steelers and their beautiful wives like this product? And now we're going to talk a little bit about the technology. But before we do, if you are a guest, we're going to raffle some of this X39 off today, which is going to be really fun. Maybe we'll even have John and Craig read off the names. Won't that be fun? Will they stay and do that? They'll be our announcers. So if you are a guest, what you're going to do is you're going to click the link in chat. Click the link in chat. You're going to put your first and last name in there because we're going to do the wheel of names at the end, and you could win a free 30-day supply of our patches. So Linda, do you want to come on and tell everybody exactly how to do that again?
Yes, thank you, Marcy. So as you can see, I put the link in the chat. So you just want to click on that link. You put your first and last name, only do it once. And that will enter your name into the wheel of names so you can win.
So let's talk about what this X39 is. This is what the guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are talking about. It is our patented wearable light technology, and it is from LifeWave. It is the X39. So when you open it up, you will see that it's sticky. Yes, you actually stick it on your body. But what is inside? Well, this is organic crystal, and it's made up of some amino acid, sugar, salt, water, some oxygen, and it forms a perfect lattice. And why? Well, it's a reflector of light. And you may say, whose light? Well, we all radiate a low-grade infrared light off of our bodies. You know that's true because you've seen the military guys do night goggles, night vision. And what they're doing is looking at people's light signature. So just like John and Craig were saying, they just put that on their body like that. And it reflects their own light to make change in the body. The big word, and I'm sure my masters in kinesiology would know this word, is photobiomodulation, light making change in your body. And what is this doing? Well, what is happening is that when GHK copper peptide gets elevated, something very beautiful happens. Basically, it activates your stem cells to work like little baby stem cells again. And why is that important? This is the crazy part. Stem cells are the only cells in your body that are changeable. Another cell can change. And they can change into whatever cell your body needs for repair, just like when we were younger. The problem is by age 30, we've lost most of our stem cells. 50% go dormant. By age 60, almost all of them have gone dormant. They're not dead, they're dormant. So when you activate those little baby stem cells to start working again, you get the army marching. And they march and they march, and they're going to go find what you need to have fixed first.
I've already heard them talk, the
And
people I wanted to hear talk.
And repair. And then they go and they move to the next area and repair it. And it marches and it marches. So I don't know what you need to have fixed first, but your body knows. That's why if you have something going on in your heart or your liver, it will fix that first and then moves to something you feel. My guess is John's, no, it was Faith. It was Craig's wife when she had the owie under her foot, the symptoms of that, stuff, that pain under her foot. That went and fixed that first. That tells me probably her organs are doing pretty good, right? Just know that it's 1 month for every decade you are old. And remember, the Army will fix what you need to live first and then march to something you feel. And it's important to know this. And I want to take you back in time. I don't know how many of you have babies or grandbabies. Raise your hand or think back to it. And remember, it was those babies that were being created in your mother, and it was making the stem cells were what was making the baby, the connective tissue, the lung, the heart, the liver, everything is created by stem cells. That baby is born. Well, the stem cells downregulate. They can't make another head, but what they do is they protect and regenerate that baby all the way up until about age 30. And when that baby or grandbaby is born, what do you remember? Do you remember how fresh that baby smelled? Do you remember how soft your little hands are? How soft your little toes are? Yeah, that's all regeneration. Then I don't know if you guys remember this. I have a memory. When my little boy Luke was 5, I was swinging him at the park and I swung him too hard and he fell out of the swing. I felt so bad, like a bad mom. He gimped all the way home. I felt horrible. But the next day he was fine. Why? Because his stem cells were regenerating. Then we hit age 20, all of a sudden, we're still doing good. No gray hair, no wrinkles. By age 30, still pretty good, but then 40 hits. Wrinkles come, gray hair comes. By 50, 60, and 70, I would say John and Craig would agree, all of a sudden the issues come. We got the brain issues, the heart issues, cholesterol issues, blood sugar issues, the pain in the knee, the new knee that has to come in, the spinal cord that's all crunched, right? But what happens if we could activate our stem cells to start repairing like they did when we were young? Would you want to wear them? Well, for me, you guys know I had fast growing cells in 2000 and many of you know, in 2017, and after a year of chemoradiation and a double mastectomy, those darn fast-growing cells came back 6 months later. I was devastated. Dr. Rhonda Donahue told me what I just told you. She said, let's activate those stem cells and start repairing you again. I said, why not? And I did exactly what John and Craig were told to do. 12 hours on to activate and repair and 12 hours off. I could put it right below the back of my neck or under my belly button. The only rule was 12 on, 12 off, because we're light. And if you wear it 24 hours over and over again, your body will get used to the signal and it doesn't work as well. So really, you could put this patch anywhere. Your whole body's light. So any spot will do. I like to say, pop the spot with a lot. What spot? The spot that's bugging you, your knee, your shoulder, your colon, whatever. The only rule is 12 on, 12 off. And every patch has its own 12-hour clock. So you can wear some patches 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and others 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I will tell you some of the other patches in a minute, because I know John and Craig were telling you about them all. And you're probably like, well, what are those? So we're going to talk about those. And not only are we going to talk about those, as you listen to all of this, you're going to put in the raffle. I'm going to raffle off 4 sleeves of patches today. So you're going to start putting in chat. Isn't that great? You're going to, Paige is like, I'm in. And this is for guests. So make sure you put your name in the wheel as a guest. You're going to put in chat what sleeves you want to win. But before we do that, I want to show you a few pictures. And you can follow along or later research and put this in, please, Linda. StartX39now.com. That's StartX39now.com. And some homework, as I think it was Faith that was the homework person. So you can be just like Faith and watch the first video on light. It's only 2 minutes. The second video on the power of the patch, how X39 really works. And then you can read all about David Schmidt. He is the owner, inventor, and CEO. Look at the way he looks. He's 60, he looks 40. There's something going on. He's researched stem cells he has 70 global patents on it. You may also want to read the patent, just like Faith did, which says that yes, X39 activates. You can read that by elevating a certain type of peptide. You can read that through light. Non-transdermal, that means nothing goes in your skin. It's all light. And if you're like Faith, you're going to read the full patent. It does take 3 minutes and it's download and it's 20 pages long. You also may want to research more about elevating GHK and what it does, because it is the holy grail of healing. So it does activate stem cells, but just really quick, it does so much more. It also works on skin and hair. That's why Deborah's face looks so good. It works on fast-growing cells. It works on lungs, antioxidant, brain and nerve. It even works with scarring, with insulin, with cortisone. What doesn't it do? So once again, GHK activates stem cells, but it's the holy grail of healing in its own right. So there's me. Oh my goodness. I know, isn't that sad? That's when I had fast-growing cells, X39 regenerating. This is what John was talking about. Remember, he was talking about hold on, let's see if I can get there, the potholes. There's some potholes, right? Look at how that nerve is all pinched. X39 opens up the nerve and it's flowing again. This is C7. So that would be C7, your upper body, like neuropathy on the upper body, tingly fingers from the C7. From the L5, when you got tingly feet, that would be from the L5. Same thing on your lower back. This is pretty wild. This little boy's finger got cut off. It died. 2 months later, regeneration. This woman from Australia, we can all agree day one, she looks in her 50s. A year on X39, look at her skin. She looks like she is 16. And lastly, look at this man. He's bald. He's gray. I don't think any of us would disagree. I was gray. Now look at him. He has dark hair. He's not bald. And even his eyebrow is black again. Once again, regeneration. So now that you have some places to go, lastly, we will go to David Schmidt doesn't stop at X39. And if I could have you, Linda, put in chat both the All Products Flyer International and the price list order form so people can grab it, that would be great. But this is where you would go on the website. Once again, this website, when you're taking notes, and Linda put this in chat too, startx39now.com, startx39now.com. And when you look at this flyer, we're just going to go in 30 seconds about each patch. And then I'll see how well I can remember John, Craig, and the girls and which ones they wore. They all wore X39. This is a form of wearable light technology because when you elevate GHK copper peptide, you activate stem cells. Eon reduces inflammation. Inflammation loves to eat the little stem cells. So when you reduce inflammation, you turbocharge your stem cell repair. The quick guide also shows you where you can wear it. You can wear X39 and Eon right below the back, under the belly button. Remember, your whole body's light, so any spot will do. And also remember that because light is flexible, we're not a solid, we're light, it moves fast. The patches can touch each other. They can go horizontally under the neck. They can go vertically. X49, I believe Faith said that this was one of their favorites, and I can understand why. It supports the brain and the heart, it grows bones, and it also builds lean muscle mass. We like to say X39 and X49 is the performance patch because if you're an MMA fighter and you need to hit the bag like a 20-year-old, you got to have lean muscle mass. And X49 is going to help you do that better and recover from those hits. Alavita literally builds collagen. We love it. We call this the facelift patch, naturally, of course. Most of us put it right between our eyebrows and we sleep with it at night. Why? Because if you wore this during the day between your eyebrows, you kind of look like a dork. So you wear that at night. And then you have the day cream, night cream, and eye cream, which is very clean, goes right on the skin. Skin is very close to the blood. So David wanted a clean product. And so when you do that, it's very hydrating because it's made with algae oil, which is the same oil as your skin that also builds collagen. And the new eye cream actually has GHK in it and is blue. Ice Wave charges out pain. This is a 2-patch system. You got a brown patch on the pain spot, a white patch about 3 inches away, and it charges out pain. Glutathione detoxes. It's the polar outer, write this down, of all yuck. Fungus, mold, virus, toxins, metal, Roundup, you name it, bacteria, fungus, yeast, it pulls it out. In fact, I was in Arizona and Dr. Nicholas said that he recommends the patches he recommends for different issues. And then he says, plus glutathione. Everything is plus glutathione. Why? Because we live in a toxic environment. And even David Schmidt said that kids 20 years ago didn't need patches, but the environment is so toxic now that he recommends X39 and glutathione for children. And by the way, I work with moms across America, 500,000 strong, and they test Roundup in school lunches. You'd be shocked to know that 90% of school lunches have Roundup in it. How sad is that? Carnosine is the protector of all organs, your lungs, your heart, your kidneys, your liver, your ears, your eyes. In fact, people with eye issues put a carnosine on their eye and sleep with it. People that have, and then an X39 and Eon around their eye. People that have symptoms of ringing of the ear, they'll put an Eon in the ear and an X39 and a carnosine around the ear at night. So that's lovely. Also, carnosine is a protector of the telomeres, which are the lady fingers of the DNA. The longer those last, the longer you live. And by the way, Alavita also lengthens telomeres. And also in 5 minutes, your light looks turquoise. That's why it's this color. Pretty wild, pretty color, isn't it? Energy activates the mitochondria, burns fat, and people love this for weight loss. Also, according to Dr. Nicholas, it works really good for rebalancing the brain, and it activates the mitochondria, the energy, the powerhouse of every cell of the body, and it charges up the lymph system. So it just moves everything out. Actually, this is one of my favorite patches for my son now that has symptoms of brain issues. He's really loving this now. Thank you, Dr. Nicholas, as he's the one that told us to start using it for children that have brain stuff going on. Silent Night actually elevates melatonin and helps us sleep better. And SP6 controls sugar in the blood. You know, a lot of us have sugar issues. You control the sugar, you control the cravings, and that works with energy for weight loss. Of course, AccuLife is pain relief for animals, is Ice Wave for animals. And Dream and Shine, well, that's our only non-patch product. Dream puts you to sleep, and I'm telling you, it's fast acting, and Shine keeps you up. You spray it on your hand and you take 8 breaths, deep inhalations through your nose, and that's called the olfactory, and that goes everywhere through your system. Dream is really great. Like if it will put you out in 5 minutes. If you're one of those people that wake up at 3 in the morning and spray it again, it will put you out again. So we really like that patch. So now that you know what all the patches are, start putting some of those in chat that you want. Also, I want to say one other thing about LifeWave. This company has been here for 20 years, and David is a private company, and he only does what he wants to do, which is help us live longer. Very noble. Our company before X39 was only doing 30 million a year. All of a sudden, people realize light and the activation of those cells really matter. And today we're almost at $500 million. This company is in momentum because the product works. Lastly, I do want to show you how you can actually order the product. And if this could go in chat too, you're going to get with the person that brought you here, and you're going to go back down. Remember, we're going to do this again all the way down to David Schmidt doesn't stop at X39. David Schmidt doesn't stop at X39, and you're going to go to the price list, and you're going to use the price list and the all products flyer. And most likely tonight, you're going to sit down with a nice cup of tea, and you're going to decide what patches are best for you. And you're going to place an order with the person that brought you here. And you're going to remember that one X39 retail is $149.95, and that's a 30-day supply. But the wholesale kits are the best. Individual kits, $2.99. Gold kits, double the inventory for families, $4.99. Platinum and diamond, well, those are for people that run big business and they need inventory, or they have a huge family. And look at the blue football. Look at that, Craig and John. I made a football just for you. One sleeve of X39 or X49 is 1 point. One sleeve of any supportive patch is 0.5. And the Alavita skincare system is 1.5. So a silver pack, for example, would be 3 points. So let's fill that up with John and Craig and Faith and Deborah's favorite products. For example, one X39 would be 1 point. Activate that wearable light technology. One X49 for lean muscle mass, 1 point. One Eon to reduce inflammation, and one glutathione for detox. That would be 3 points, all for $2.99. And then always one X39 the following month to keep those cells activated. And then you just give the person that brought you here your name, your address, your credit card. They'll put the order in for you, and then it drop ships to your house. So once again, get with the person that brought you here and let them know what you want to order. Now, if they tell you, I'm not really sure how to do it, what are you going to do? You're going to send those 2 forms and you're going to tell them this is what I want. Okay. And so with that, let's go ahead and do our wheel of names. John and Craig, can you unmute yourself? You're going to help me with this. You're going to read out the names. Linda, what's our first sleeve we're gonna raffle?
All right, the first sleeve we're gonna raffle is X39.
Oh, wow, look at this. This is quite a wheel. Let's go. Who is it, John? Can you read it? It's I can't even read it.
Evgenia?
Evgenia Lee. I know that's a toughie. You just won an X39. You're going to email janjrand@gmail.com. Please put that in chat, Lynn. janjrand@gmail.com, that you won an X39 at the patching party, your name and address. If you don't email her, you're not going to get it. All right. What are we going to spin next?
Next is X49.
All your favorite, guys. Let's go. And we got Seth Granger. Seth Granger, you are a winner of an X49. Email janjrand, JANJRAND, @gmail.com that you have won that. All right. Wahoo! What are we doing next? Which sleeve?
Next is Eon.
Eon, let's go. Wow. Pronounce that one. Halishanash. I'm sorry.
Helistian, maybe?
Oh, that's
Nash?
good. There you are. You are a winner of 1 Eon. Email janjrand@gmail.com that you won that sleeve. All right. What's our next one? We got, oh, what's the next one that we're gonna raffle?
Next one is glutathione.
Let's do glutathione. Carol Mara, you are a winner. 1 glutathione, email janjrand@gmail.com. And now the wheel of names are done. We can stop the share screen. And I just want to thank both John and Craig. Maybe you could unmute and say bye to all of us. We just love you and your wives. We so enjoyed you spending time with us.
Thank you very much. Goodbye to everybody. Enjoyed being here.
We're so glad you came. We had so much fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.